Welcome everyone to another video. In this video we are going to talk about a forum and we are going to design this very basic HTML forum together. Let's dive into the code. Okay everybody, let's get started. So first of all we have to initialize the forum, so we open the tag and write forum, then we close the tag, and inside this we'll have our form elements. And this form will have some attributes that I'm telling you now. The first attribute that is the form is taking is called action. It means that whenever you submit the form, an action will happen and you need to store the data of this form somewhere. That we did not talk about it because it is a backend concept. So in this tutorial we are just designing the HTML elements, although I will give you an example. So you give the address of the place you want to store your data. So I have written index.php, but the next attribute that a form is taken is called method. Method means that how you want to store this data from your form. That we have post and get method. Today I just written a post, which is not gonna work because we are not gonna submit anything. So these two are the two essentials and important attributes for a form. Now nothing is happening because we should have elements for this form. The elements that the form is taking is, it can be anything. So you can write h1 to have a heading here, you can have paragraph. So you can have different elements inside this form, but one thing that we should have is called input. You write input, or you just open the tag and you write input, and then you close the tag, and it does not have a closing element. So inside this input it also has some attributes. The first attribute that you should write is called type. The type of this input should be something. So for this example we have different types, so we'll talk about it, but let's have here text, type text. And if you refresh the page, you see that there is an input here that you can write something on it. The next attribute that an input is taking is called placeholder. Placeholder is like a hint that you give to the user what this input is taking. So for example here I write full name. If you do not have label, you write full name. So when a user comes to fill this form, the user will distinguish that this input is for full name because you have this placeholder here and it is shown in the input. But you can have label as well. If you write label, or if you open the tag and write label and then you close, then you here write full name. Now if you refresh the page, you see that we have this label here, and after that we have this input. But now inside this placeholder, it's not needed to have full name because we have this instruction here. So here I will give a kind of hint. Example, you say Tom and Jerry. So you write here Tom and Jerry. So it is an example. It means the user will know that now I should write here my name. And for the label, you have again one attribute, and that is called for. Let's use it. For the for, we give a name. I write full camel case name. In programming, we have one concept by the name of camel case, that you write the second word as a capital. You start with the capital letter and you do not have a space between them. That's called camel case. So I write full name, and in the input I write another attribute that we have for the input. So let's have it here, id. It takes id. So id, I am writing full name. What it does is, whenever you click on full name, so the cursor will open this input, or it will go to this input and telling you to write here. So when I click here, let me zoom in. Whenever I click here, nothing happens. I click inside, of course it happens because I'm clicking on the input. But whenever I click on label, again it is directing me to the input. So it is because of this. For an id, they should be the same. It means that this label is for this input, they have the same id. And we have multiple attributes for the input. Before those attributes, let's have another input. And we have another type also in attribute, and we have another type for this input, and the type is called submit. It means that this input is acting like a button. So whenever I click here, it is gonna submit my form to this action that we have not specified. So I am just giving you this example. Now if I did not write anything here inside this, but when I click submit, you see that it is taking me to this route. But let's have another attribute for this input type, because the user should not be able to submit an empty form for us, so we should have required attribute here. If I write required, if I refresh the page now, I cannot submit the blank form here. If I click submit, you see that it gives me this error. So if I write something here, for example my name, if I click now, it is gonna submit it. And we can have another input as well. And instead, this time instead of type submit, we have type receipt. So refreshing the page, if I write my name and I receipt, it is gonna clean this form. I hope it is clear for you. Now let's continue. You can have more validation here. For example, you write min length, you write for example 4. It means that the least possible characters that the user should write in here is 4 characters. And if I again, let's refresh and try if it is working. So I write here only Tom, that has only 3 characters. So if I submit, please lengthen this text to 4 characters. So it is validating this. If I write Tom with E, which has 4 characters, so if I submit, now it is gonna work. And you can have the maximum length as well. So you just write max length. The maximum length you write here, so 9. If I write Australia, and you see it has 9 characters, so if I submit, it's gonna work, but it is not allowing me to write more than 9 characters. So I will just copy paste this label. This time let me have email, and I write here for email, then I open an input, I write input, and it gives me, so the type this time is gonna be email, and the placeholder example, you write code start 19@gmail.com. Let's refresh the page. We are able to write our email here. Fill first of full name, then we have email. So if I write anything here, if I write code start, and let's write here as well something, I cannot submit because it tells me that please include an add in the email address, and right here code start at gmail.com, add yahoo.com, or anything you want, but it should have this at sign. Let's continue more about it. And now let's have another label. If I write just label here, so it is this time let's work on password. I write for password. This time the type is gonna be password, and the ID is gonna be password, and the placeholder, for example, code $45 so because it's a password, it should be a bit strong. Let's have BR tag after this. Now you see if I write something, because password is something very personal, and it should be secret. So if I write something, it is never gonna be shown here. You just see the dots, and the person is typing, just the user knows what the password is. So it is very useful. The next input type, let's copy and paste them. So I will write here the for phone, and the ID is also gonna be phone. Type is gonna be tell. Example, you write, if I refresh the page, now you see it is here, but now you can see that I can write any number here, which is not also a phone number, and it is not following any format. I can write as many 8s as I want, and if I submit, it is gonna work. So it is not a good way, because input for the phone should be only phone numbers with this format. So you could also define that here. You come here and write pattern, you write here this /, then you write according to Australian format 61, then you have a space, and then from 0 to 9 should be only 3 digits, then again a space, and 0 to 9 again 3 digits. What it means? It means that first of all it should start with this 610061, because this is the international Australian code number. Then after that, if you see here, let me zoom in a bit. If you see here, after plus 61, you have 415. 415, it means that it is among this number from 0 to 9. and it is 3 digits, 415, only 3 digits, so you defined it here. Then again after that, if you see 572, 3 digits, so you write here. Then the last one also you have 3 digits, 652, so you write here. Let's refresh the page and write random numbers and submit. Something is wrong here, let's see. But oh, I have written triple T, but it should be 2, pattern spelling mistake. Then you refresh the page, and if you write random numbers, if you submit, it says that please match the requested format. So you should have this according to this placeholder. So you write 415 572 652. If I submit now, it's gonna work because we are according to that format. So it's enough for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. We will continue talking about the form because it's very important in the coming videos. So like the video. If you had any question, comment it here, and let's discuss about it. Thank you.